I know it's freaking eating. Sorry about that. Um, okay, so we know we just had an upset, and it was kind of a shocker. Well, in a way it was, and in a way I'm gonna say for me it wasn't because God was already preparing me, saying that there was gonna be a transfer of like a transference this year, um, far as people being removed and being replaced and stuff stuff like that. So I did come to the news, of course everybody did around the world, about Kobe Bryant, and which is really like shocking and very sad because during his process and during this time, for the most part, especially later on in his life, he has been very adamant about helping kids and bringing stuff out and just helping the community, helping the youth. Like, I mean, in tremendous ways, people really don't. Um, and when I say people, I'm going to say myself included, because I don't know the full extent. But what I have been looking at him for the last couple of years, I've been seeing that um, both physically and spiritually, you see people trying to come out and get into what their walk is supposed to be, I guess. Um, but I say that because it brought something else to my mind, and you guys might get upset about it, but that's cool. Um, I'm glad that you're here, but if you need to turn off of this, then that's fine too. Um, there is a price um, for dealing with the enemy's camp. There is a price. There is a price. Now, I don't know his walk, um, nor am I trying to, because his walk is his walk. But I will tell you this: when you are in an arena, whether you are dealing with the kingdom of lightness or the kingdom of darkness, when you are in the arena of fame and fortune, there are a lot of people that come in um, that become enemies. Like, you do not understand. And I've faced it on a small scale, um, but his life faced it. He faced it on a large scale. People will know you from humble beginnings, and they see that you branched off and you've done other things. So they're looking at themselves like, wait a minute, this is the same person. How can this person do this and I'm doing that? So you get that kind of jealousy from that person. Then not only that, you get the jealousy from the people who are, how can I say this? They're doing the same thing that you're doing, but since you've been fortunate, or you got you've seen manifestation before you do, they just all of a sudden think that you are part of something evil. So they're like, you know what, we got to fight against them. We got to fight against them because they got to be doing something evil, because if that was the case and they did it and I haven't done it, something's got to be wrong. So um, yeah, there are a lot of harsh obstacles that you have to face dealing with that. Not only that, now you have people who you're dealing with people who see you being less than, and you're coming into yourself and you're making dominance. So now their belief of that all certain types of people, or people of a certain background or ethnicity, has to be this type of person, and you're showing something completely opposite. Like, say for instance, all these type of people, all these shades of people are supposed to be, broken down, poor, unintelligent, and everything. And then you come along and you break all those barriers, all those standards that they believe, or those I won't say standards, because it's not standards. It's just fallacies that they've been told. And since they've seen a couple that way, they just assume all of them. So you're breaking this mold, it's gonna make people hesitant a lot. It's gonna make people shift. Um, then you have people who believe that that was not true, but they also believe that you're a traitor because you're not doing the same things that you used to do, which you shouldn't. When you know more, you do more. Period. I that's just crazy. I wouldn't want to do something um that I was doing when I was 10 years old when I'm 30. That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, but this is what you're dealing with. So, and the enemy knows this. This is why I say, like, there is a price. There is a price to pay. Um, so I wish him and his families and all of the families that lost their lives. Um, I send my condolences at this time. Um, I don't know if that matters or anything, but I really do because losing a life is a very strong force. It's something that we all have to face, but it's not the easiest. Nowhere near easy when it comes around, especially all of a sudden in youthful days, because all of those babies were very youthful, and they were doing things. They were being proactive. They weren't trying to do, the so-called bad things in the world. But anyhow, so um, yeah. And I know a lot of people are gonna talk about this, and how he was and what did he, do and all this other stuff. But I can tell you this: one thing about you can tell about that man's ethic, he was a worker. There's a lot of people who are, supposed to be firm believers, and they're doing this, but they're not doing anything about it. They're seeing things that are going on. And I had to capture myself, and I think that's what made me get up and make this video, because time is really changing. We have been seeing so many things drastically change around us to the point we either become dull or we become deactivated. Dull is when you just walk around and just like whatever. Everything in our media streams, everything, they're just pushing so much evilness out into our arena to the point where we've become desensitized to it. Look at our media. Look at all our videos and our movies and things like that. You're seeing something dealing with cursed objects. You're dealing with occult practices and everything. We're watching more movies than ever, dealing with vampires, dead people, talking to the dead, seeing the dead, mediumships, things that are all not of God, things that all defile the man. Like that is what is going on, and it's just like, okay, when is it gonna be time to wake up? And then you'll see more people. The more, this is why I said there are some people who have been conditioned to say, okay, this is the part, and I have to play my part in order to get what I need to get, or order to be successful and to do things like this. And I'm going to share my testimony with that, dealing with that too. And you play this role, and you're thinking eventually this is because even though it's bad, you're going to go to it because eventually you'll be able to help other people later. And it doesn't happen that way because it's a trick. It is a trap. It is a trap from the jump. It's a trap, okay? It is a freaking trap. You don't need a title or position to help people or be effective in this world. You don't need man's title to move mountains. The best people, the most people who've done so many things, usually they're the people who are very quiet. Excuse me. You don't hear a lot from them until everything is done. and usually the people who are talking a lot, um, they are used um, as distractors. Okay, look at our look at our celebrity base. Look at the youth celebrity base from freaking 13 to 33. That whole base, and that's a huge gap too, because that's children and some of their adult parents. But um, look at how every time that the climate change, and when I say climate change, I mean people are becoming awake and becoming attuned to what is going on in the world. We have some kind of thing that shake us off of our rosters, whether it's an earthquake, whether it's a death, whether it's a shooting, um, whether it is a riot. It's usually something of the same forces. It's the same tactics going over and over. As soon, and it gives you into this